If your fried rice keeps becoming a soft soy sauce clump, the pan is steaming when it should be frying. Let's fix that with cold, dry rice, a wide hot pan, and the right order. You'll get separate grains, soft egg, and dinner that actually sounds like a stir-fry. Fried rice turns mushy when too much water enters the pan. Wet, clumped rice releases steam, and steam softens the grains before they can toast. Cold leftover rice works because the grains have dried and firmed up enough to separate. The goal is not cold rice by itself. The goal is rice with less surface moisture. Start with rice that was stored safely. Cooked rice should be cooled and refrigerated promptly, not left out overnight. A practical rule is to refrigerate leftovers within 2 hours, or within 1 hour if the room is above 90 degrees Fahrenheit or 32 Celsius. If the rice smells odd, looks slimy, or sat out too long, do not turn it into fried rice. Use refrigerated leftover rice within a normal leftover window, about 3 to 4 days. Keep it cold until you cook. When you fry it, heat the rice until it is steaming hot all the way through, about 165 degrees Fahrenheit or 74 Celsius if you check with a thermometer. Safety and texture are connected here. Cold, dry, safe rice fries better.
If you only have fresh rice, spread it thin on a tray and let steam escape. For a faster workaround, cool it uncovered in the fridge until the surface feels dry, then break it up. This is not as good as overnight rice, but it is better than dumping hot, wet rice into a skillet. Hot rice almost always steams before it fries. Break up the rice before the heat starts. Use clean fingers, a spoon, or a rice paddle to loosen big clumps. If a clump goes into the pan, the outside fries while the inside stays cold and wet. Once the rice is in a hot pan, smashing cold lumps wastes heat and can crush the grains. Keep the ingredient list tight. Leftover rice, eggs, scallion, oil, soy sauce, and garlic if you want it. For 2 servings, about 3 cups or 450 grams of cooked rice is a good home pan amount. Measure the soy nearby. Fried rice moves fast, and searching for a bottle while the rice sits in the pan costs heat.
Use the widest pan you have, and do not overload it. A restaurant wok has heat and space. A home skillet usually has less of both, so batch size matters more. If the rice forms a thick mound, the bottom grains steam under the top grains. A thin layer lets moisture escape and gives the rice a chance to toast. Cook the egg first. Heat a little oil, pour in beaten egg, and stir just until it sets into soft curds. Egg needs gentler timing than rice. If it stays in the pan for the whole fry, it becomes dry and ragged. A separate egg step keeps the pieces tender and visible in the finished rice. Take the egg out while it still looks slightly soft. It will warm again at the end, so do not cook it to the texture you want on the plate. Fully dry egg at the start becomes even drier after the rice is fried. This one pause makes the final bowl taste more intentional. If you use garlic or scallion whites, cook them briefly in oil before the rice. Keep this step short. Aromatics should smell good, not brown hard. If the garlic burns before the rice arrives, every grain will taste bitter. Have the rice ready beside the stove so the aromatics do not wilt. Add the rice to a hot, lightly oiled pan and spread it out. You should hear an active sizzle, not a quiet steam bath. Press and toss to loosen the grains, but do not mash them. At this stage, you are driving off surface moisture and waking up the rice, not seasoning everything yet.
Listen and look. A dry pan sounds sharper and lighter than a wet pan. Steam should drop as the rice loosens. The grains should look separate and lightly glossy from oil, not wet and cloudy. If the spatula drags through sticky starch, keep frying before you add soy. Sauce added too early locks in mush. If the pan looks crowded, remove half the rice and fry in batches. This feels slower, but it is often faster than waiting for a crowded pan to dry out. More space gives steam somewhere to go. Batch 1 can wait in a bowl while batch 2 fries. Then everything comes together for seasoning.
Pour soy sauce around the hot edge of the pan, not into one wet spot in the middle. The hot metal wakes up the aroma quickly, and the rice catches the seasoning as you toss. For 2 servings, start with 1 to 2 tablespoons, or 15 to 30 milliliters. You can add more, but you cannot easily remove a salty puddle. Toss immediately after the soy hits the edge. Waiting too long burns sauce in one place, while tossing too slowly leaves pale rice and salty patches. The color should spread quickly without turning the pan wet. If you see liquid collecting at the bottom, give the rice more heat and motion before adding anything else. Fold the egg back in with scallion at the end. You only need to warm it through. The egg should stay visible as soft yellow pieces, not disappear into the rice. Add scallion greens late too, so they stay fresh instead of turning dull and wet. The final minute is assembly, not another long cook.
Add-ins are fine, but they must not flood the pan. Peas, diced ham, corn, or leftover chicken work best when they are not dripping wet. If vegetables are frozen, let surface frost steam off in the pan before the rice goes in, or fry them separately. Every wet add-in changes the rice texture. If the rice is already too wet, do not add more soy, egg, or oil. Spread it thin, raise the heat slightly, and give steam a way out. Toss, then spread again. You can improve wet rice if it is only a little damp. If it has turned gluey, the best repair is stopping early and serving it as a soft rice bowl instead of pretending it is fried rice. If the rice is dry but hard in the center, use a tiny splash of water around the pan edge, then cover for a short moment or toss until it softens. This is different from starting with wet rice. You are adding just enough steam to warm a dry grain through, then uncovering so the pan can dry again.
The fried rice is done when the grains look separate, lightly glossy, and hot, with no wet clumps on the spatula. Taste now. Add a small pinch of salt or a few drops of soy only if the rice itself tastes flat. A dry pan bottom is a good sign. Wet starch on the spatula means it needs more time. Serve fried rice hot, right after the grains are separate. If it sits in the pan, trapped steam starts softening the bottom again. If you made 2 batches, combine them only long enough to heat evenly and season. Fried rice is at its best when the pan is dry, the egg is still soft, and the scallion still tastes fresh. Do not cover the bowl tightly while it waits, or the steam will undo the dry texture you just built. The repeatable order is this: safe leftover rice, broken clumps, wide hot pan, egg cooked first, rice fried until dry, soy around the edge, egg back at the end. If fried rice turns mushy, look for water, crowding, or sauce added too early. Dry rice wins because it can fry instead of steam. Grab a spoon while the grains are hot. See you next time.